If you're a cat person, you're going to love my next entrepreneur who works from home. Her name is Nicki Iskander, and she's a massage therapist who runs a women-only studio where her cats greet her clients at the door. She donates $5 from every massage to her local food bank, and as a bonus, she plays Otis Redding instead of spa music. That's kind of neat. Nicki's driving force is women's empowerment, and she aims to be an example for other women of what's possible. So I think you'll love hearing from her. I'm Gale Bates. I've been an entrepreneur working from home for over 20 years, and I know firsthand the challenges of staying organized, managing time, and avoiding overwhelm in today's fast-paced world. So on this channel, I'm here to help busy entrepreneurs like you master proven systems and strategies to thrive while running a successful home-based business. I'm having so much fun interviewing entrepreneurs where we dive deep into these proven strategies and systems. So I'd love you to take a minute to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified so you never miss any of the insights, tips, and actionable advice coming your way. Okay, here's Nicki's interview where she shares just some wonderful tips to managing her home-based business. I think you'll love it. Well, welcome, Nicki. It is so lovely to have you here today. And I really want to thank you for helping us in our quest to share all your success tips for entrepreneurs who work from home in this series that I'm doing. And I'm just thrilled. We're just going to learn about your insights and your experiences with our audience today. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Gail. I'm happy to be here.
Great. You know, your business is a little bit different because you have a hands-on business as a massage therapist. Let's start off with your daily routine. Just talk a little bit about how that works for you.
I do have a hands-on business. It is literally hands-on. I work with my hands.
Right.
So my daily routine, I wake up at 6, a little before 6 in the morning, and I start every day with a workout. So I go to the gym, usually spend about hour and a half at the gym, back by 8:30 or so, and that's when I start my day. So shower, get dressed, I clean the house because I have a client-facing business, so people are actually physically coming into my home. Right. So and I have 2 cats, so I have to make sure that the house is spick and span, clean, smells nice. And I set up my massage room. I have a separate room where I do the massages. So I set up that room, heat the towels, make sure the table's all nice and the sheets are crisp. And then I sit down at my laptop and begin my day. I make my coffee and read my files for all of the people that I'm going to be seeing that day and do any research that I need to do. And then I just wait for people to show up.
Great. And do you do that 5 days a week or 4 days a week? So you've got that worked out. Great. So you have your downtime. Of course, you need that. Yeah. Wow, that's pretty impressive that you're going to the gym early in the morning. And
always start my day with a workout.
That is amazing. That's really great. That's wonderful. You really have your week all organized. So how do you manage your time? You know, how do you work with time management a little bit?
Well, one of the good things about the industry of massage therapy is it's appointment based. So I have my set hours. I always know when I start. I always know when I end. There's no such thing as, a last minute emergency meeting or something that's going to catch me off guard. It's always scheduled, and it's always scheduled ahead of time. So that really, really helps. And I always just stick to the schedule. And then as for my personal life, I schedule that too. So I treat my personal life much the same way that I treat my professional life. So I make sure to actually schedule time with friends and family and schedule vacation and schedule my gym time. And I have 2 personal trainers and I live by my calendar. Everything goes in my calendar. And then I just do my best to stick to it.
I love it. And do you work with a digital calendar or do you work with a paper calendar?
I used to do paper, and which I love because I love the look and the feel, and I love highlighters and different colored pens, and I love just looking at the whole week all at once. But then I found myself in too many situations where I was out with friends and they would want to make a plan, and if I didn't have my paper calendar on me, then I couldn't confirm, and it got really frustrating. So I finally just this year made the switch. I'm fully digital. I just use a Google Calendar now.
Oh, great. Well, I'd love to share with you sometime how I use both. I use the paper planner and the digital together, which helps when you're out and about. Like you said, when you're out and about and you don't have your calendar with you personally.
Yeah,
Uh,
there was a time where I was doing both. I was doing digital and paper, and then I found that certain events were getting written in one and not logged in the other, and then it just became too confusing. And so now I'm fully digital, reluctantly fully digital.
I love it. You are very organized. You plan your week. What are your biggest challenges that you face as an entrepreneur working from home with people coming to your home?
Yeah. So, I mean, the number one challenge, I wouldn't say it's a challenge so much as a concern, is safety.
Yeah.
So, because I see people physically in my home, and a lot of them are strangers. I mean, everyone's a stranger the first time I meet them, right? And because I do market to the general public,
Right.
and my home address is all over the internet, it's on my Google business listing, it's on my website. So, safety is definitely a concern.
Yeah.
And the way that I navigate that is I exclusively market to women.
Right.
And I make sure that if any men are coming in, that they have a direct referral source. So
Right. Yeah.
that's the biggest way that I navigate that.
Uh-huh.
And aside from that, just having people in your home, I have
Yeah.
to keep it clean,
Yes.
um, spick and span. I have to make sure I don't cook anything that leaves a scent. I
Oh,
also I don't eat or touch peanuts or other tree nuts on my working days just in case somebody has an allergy. I
right.
have two cats and I make sure I don't touch them on my work days, which is really challenging.
Oh, wow.
But
Yeah.
I don't want to get fur on my clothes just in case
Right.
somebody comes over and they have an allergy.
Yeah.
And then the other challenge is the familiarity that people have when they come to your home, especially if they come multiple times. A
Yes.
lot of people want to stick around afterwards and
Right.
chat and play with the cats and look at the backyard. And sometimes I'm kind of opening the door and ushering them out.
I can see that. I do that with my massage therapist. So, I know when it's time for me to go because I know she has another client coming. Right. So you have
Yeah,
to.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that. So I guess you probably are a very routine person. You have a lot of specific routines lined up. What would
Yeah.
you say is the routine that really is the best one that works for you for productivity?
Routine for productivity. I guess when it comes to productivity, because I do my work massaging,
Yeah.
that's something that I can only do alone, just me with the client in the room. And then there's all the other work that comes outside of massaging. So,
Right. Yeah.
all of the admin and all of the sales and the marketing and the writing
Right.
newsletters and the
Yeah.
social media and the networking and all of that. So I really like co-working. I like going to, even if it's just a cafe or there's a co-working space at my gym that I
Uh-huh.
go to, I find that it really helps to kind of get out of the house, have a designated time where I'm working. Even if I'm alone, but just being surrounded by other people, I find that that makes it a lot easier for me to focus. I also live in a house that's a triplex. So it's a house that has three separate apartments in it.
Uh-huh.
And I'm on the main floor. My brother actually lives above me and he works from home too. So a lot of times I'll just bring my laptop upstairs and I'll sit next to him and we'll
Right.
just co-work together. And I find that that's really helpful.
I think that's marvelous. I think you've really hit the nail on the head. And I think co-working is the latest thing, or as our friend Lindsay calls it, body doubling, I think she calls it.
Yeah, I think that's an ADHD term,
Oh,
body
is that
doubling, where I think it's just a human thing. It's just easier, even if I'm just cleaning my house or making dinner, it's easier and more enjoyable when I'm doing it alongside somebody else.
right? Yeah, I love that. I love it. Great. Connections. Let's talk a little bit about your connections. You must be really busy at home. How do you make time for connections and collaborations?
I mean, as I mentioned before, I live by my calendar. I schedule everything. So I make
Right.
sure that I regularly schedule time with friends, time with family. I schedule my workouts. I go to a lot of networking events. I mingle with my peers. I'm going to the Canadian Massage Conference that's in a month. I have a lot of
Right.
friends who are massage therapists.
Yeah.
So yeah, really it just comes down to prioritization and
Yeah.
scheduling. If something's important enough to you, you'll find a way to make it work. And I go to a ton of concerts. Like, I think I've got 3 shows next week, and I go to those with friends and, my
Right.
brothers. And
Right.
so that's also another way to make sure I'm always seeing my friends, is I always have a concert on the horizon and
Right.
I'm always going with somebody.
Right. Yeah. So you really make sure that you are connecting and collaborating and staying connected with people, with friends, with colleagues, and professional development as well, going to conferences for massage therapy and all of that as well, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It gets really lonely otherwise, especially because, I don't have coworkers. I have colleagues, but I don't have coworkers. And most of my clients don't talk. They come in and they just want to lie down and tune out
Yeah.
the outside world for an hour and a half. So
Yeah.
it can get lonely. So you kind of have to
Yeah.
force yourself to make those connections and keep those connections strong in person, especially.
Yeah. And that's why I bring it up, because as entrepreneurs who work from home, that's one of the biggest challenges is that isolation, and you have to make the effort. You can't just sit home forever and not communicate. And actually getting out of your house and meeting people is really important for you as well.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
it's interesting you say you have clients who come to your house, but they're really not talking to you. They're really
Yeah.
in a beautiful state, as I would say.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
So,
it's an interesting balance. I might have 4 or 5 people come to my home every single day, and I'm touching them, which
yeah,
is really intimate,
yeah,
but there's no conversation. So by the end of the day, I'm often kind of conversation starved, like just itching to hang out with somebody and talk.
right, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So I'm sure my audience is going to be really interested to hear how you handle that. It's wonderful. Okay, I'm going to switch here a little bit, and because we talked a little bit about technology. There are lots of online tools available. Are there any other online tools that you use besides your calendar? Any apps or that you work with?
I mean, I have practice management software. So I offer my clients online booking, which makes it nice and easy for people
Right.
to schedule
Yeah.
their own appointments, which is great because that means I don't have to have a receptionist, and it keeps me off the phone, which is amazing. So I do
What
have a
do you,
website on, sorry.
what do you use for that? What do you use an app?
Um, I use a program called Clinic Sense. It is specifically designed for massage therapists,
Oh, okay.
which is super handy. But there are all kinds of other programs for massage therapists and just health and wellness practitioners,
Yeah.
physiotherapists, acupuncturists, these kinds of things.
Right.
Some of the more popular programs are called Notero or Jane,
Yeah.
but there are all kinds of, online booking software that I find really helpful. And then I just use, I do social media marketing. So I don't pay for ads, but I have a Google business listing and an Instagram business account and a Facebook page, and just keep it
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
basic, pretty minimal. That's about all the technology. Oh, and I have a newsletter that I send, like an online newsletter, an email newsletter that I send. And
Yeah.
that's about the extent of my
Okay.
technology. I always say there's a reason I work with my hands. Technology was never my forte.
You do pretty well, I'd say. So, do you have any kind of distractions that you encounter? I would imagine the little cats running around could be distractions, but
I was just gonna say my 2 cats. Yes, my cats are adorable. I mean, the biggest distractions during the workday, I think it's the same as anybody else. It's, the phone,
yeah,
the dinging and the lights and the
yeah,
notifications. And
yeah,
I feel like there are just so many ways to communicate these days, which is a blessing and a curse. Like if you just look at
yeah,
all the apps on your
I
phone
agree. Yeah,
for communication, and I might see a friend and they'll say, "Hey, did you get my message?" And I'm like, was it WhatsApp? Was it Signal? Was it a text message? Was it Instagram? Was it Facebook? Like there are so many
I
ways to
know,
communicate
I
with people.
know.
So I think the biggest distraction is probably just, the internet.
Yeah, 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 I think so. Are there any boundaries that you set for yourself?
Oh yeah. Yeah, boundaries are everything. I mean, I have to be firm with my time. Like I make sure that all of my appointments start on time, they end on time. I usher people out really quickly. I never go overtime on appointments.
Yeah,
Um, as I mentioned before, I have a firm like start to my day, end to my day. I don't work outside of those working hours typically.
right.
You have to have firm boundaries in a career like this
Yeah,
because I find that, especially because most massage therapists are women and most massage therapists are kind of in that caretaker kind of role.
yeah,
it can be really easy for people to just be so giving and so nurturing and to bend over backwards to please other people to the point that you burn out and in some cases go broke. And I did not get into this profession to do either of those things. So I'm a beast with my boundaries.
That's wonderful. Yes. And I mean, it's really interesting to hear that because you hear from lots of different entrepreneurs, but with your clients actually coming to your house, it's a little bit different. So I'm sure that my audience that are watching this are going to really get a lot out of what you're sharing today. Okay, we did touch on professional development where you go to massage conferences. Is there any other type of professional development that you pursue or that you make time for?
Yeah, I'm actually really obsessed with uh, anything to do with sales and marketing and business
Right.
development. I find really interesting. I love like marketing psychology, and I listen to business podcasts every single morning. I start my morning like as I'm getting ready to go to the gym or as I'm, walking to the gym. I'm always listening to marketing podcasts, business podcasts, and
What's your favorite?
reading. I listen to audiobooks on
Okay.
business. Oh, my favorite marketing podcast is called The Game by Alex Hormozy. I've
Oh,
listened to every episode, and I think there are like 500 plus episodes by now. I've listened to every
hey,
episode.
I have to
His
look
wife
one.
Layla also has a podcast called Build that I love. I love Diary of a CEO. Um, I love life coaching podcasts. There's a podcast called The Life Coach School, and it's not specifically business related, but a lot of it is. So I
Uh-huh.
listen to a lot of like business, sales, marketing, mindset. There's a podcast I love called Nudge, which is the number one marketing podcast in the UK.
Wow.
And it's delightful. They talk about all kinds of marketing experiments. Um, I just love it. Marketing, copywriting, sales, anything to do with business. I just can't get enough of it. So audiobooks and podcasts, for sure. That's a big, big, big part of my world.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to learn more about those. I'm always looking for a new podcast, so that's great. Okay. The big question I ask everybody is how do you maintain a healthy work-life balance, especially when your workspace is within your living space for you, especially?
Yeah, it does help that my massage room is a separate room. So it's a small second bedroom. It's tiny. It's 7.5 by 13 feet. And when I'm in there, I'm giving my massage. And when I'm done my workday, that door is shut. So that really helps.
Yeah.
So I take a 3-day weekend every weekend, and I generally don't go in that room at all on those days. So
Yeah.
it really helps to kind of create that division. The harder part is in all the extra stuff. So the marketing and the admin and all that stuff that you can just kind of do on your laptop or on your phone, that can much more easily bleed into the rest of your life, as I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Um, and
Do you
I
have,
just sorry, go ahead.
do you have an office? A
I
separate
don't
office?
have an office. So right now I'm on my couch in my living
Okay.
room, and
Yeah.
my office is my dining room. So I just prop my laptop up on my dining room table, and
Right.
I actually don't have a desk. I don't have a proper desk. I just have a dining room table and a laptop,
Yeah.
and that's it. Because I don't need to do a ton of computer work. Really, I don't need like a fancy desk setup or multiple
Right.
monitors or
Right.
anything like that.
Right.
It's pretty low tech. But
Yeah.
as for the work-life balance, I make sure to plan and set aside tons of time off and lots of vacation. I do a lot of international travel. I take about 3 months off a year and usually travel around 2 months of the year. And so I
Great.
always have a trip on the horizon. I actually just yesterday purchased a trip to Antarctica that I'm really excited about.
Exciting. That is
Yeah.
very exciting.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
really excited. So that's coming up. So that just gives me something to look forward to, which makes it easier to get through those harder work days.
Right.
Um, and it forces you, when you've got a trip planned, especially if you're in another country, it
Yeah.
really forces you to block that time off and not work.
Yeah. I love that. That is really great. I think that's so important to have that's a really beautiful goal to have when you're working so hard yourself and knowing that that's around the corner, right? Yes.
Oh
Wonderful.
yeah. Yeah. They say that one of the keys to happiness is to always have something to look forward to. And for me, that's usually a concert and a vacation, a trip.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so I want you to share with us a little bit where people can connect with you, and we will leave your link to all of your socials and things in the description below. So tell us a little bit about how people can connect with you.
Yeah. So I am Nicki.rmt on all the things. That's NICKI.RMT. That's on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, LinkedIn, and my website is nikkirmt.com.
Okay, great. Well, we will definitely put all of those in the description below. Gosh, Nicki, this has just been so interesting today because most of the people I interview don't have a physical business in their home. And that's why I think this is going to be so interesting for my clients. So thanks again for being here today. I'm really interested to share with this with my clients. And I hope you have a beautiful day.
Thank you so much for having me, Gale. And I hope to make my way out to your neck of the woods at some point. That's definitely high on my list of places to visit.
Definitely. We will definitely connect on that.
Yeah, it sounds beautiful.
I was really impressed that Nicki starts her day with a workout, and I'm inspired by her tenacity to schedule everything, her business and her personal life. And it just reminds me of my motto to my own coaching clients, which is to schedule everything. Also, her take on handling isolation as an entrepreneur is very, very refreshing. I really want you to check out Nicki's socials below so you can connect with her. She also has an online course designed specifically for new massage therapists. She says it's everything she wished she had known when she was fresh out of massage school. I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I did. So my question for you today is, how disciplined are you at scheduling your business life alongside your personal life? Drop a comment below and let me know. And don't forget to subscribe for more interviews coming up in this series. I'll see you on the next video.